This is cs952, Introduction to Web Technologies and Design, and we had just added a web font to our homepage. So we thought it was pretty darn cool. Now we're going to add a glyphicon to our web page. So glyphicons are like specialized kinds of fonts. Rather than showing regular text characters like you see in the alphabet, you see all kinds of exciting glyphs. And Bootstrap comes with lots of glyphicons already built into the Bootstrap framework. Again, that's why we like a framework, because it has collections of code that help us develop our web pages faster and make them look better. So I want to make sure I have my H1 tag here selected like I did before. I can select it in the status bar or in the DOM panel. I've got the DOM panel tucked away right now because we don't need it for this what we're working on. And I'm going to make sure I have my insert panel selected. So we're going to insert a glyphicon, and it's a Bootstrap component, so we need to have Bootstrap component selected. And you remember glyphicons, we used the glyphicon earlier when we first got our page set up, right? We deleted the word link and used the glyphicon home icon. So I'm going to click again, I'm going to click on my glyphicon home icon, and we're getting this little message that we've seen before saying, well, do you want to insert it before or after or nest it? Well, we actually in this case want to nest it. We want to put it inside of the H1 tag. The H1 tag means make this font really big, right? And if we put it inside of the H1 tag, it's going to say make this glyphicon really big. So let's say OK for nest. Now when we do that, we get exactly what we asked for. We get glyphicon of a house, because that's what the home icon is. But that's really not what I was hoping for a website about pencils. So let's look at some of the other glyphicons we can use. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to type in get bootstrap, Glyphicon. I've got a link to this, but this will probably get us there just as quickly. Okay, here we go. So you can go to, this is bootstrap.com/components, and we're looking at glyphicons. So you can see there's, I don't know, 250 glyphicons, and they all look really nice. You may find one that you would like to use for your website. I see one that I would like to use for my website. I can see that there is a glyphicon called Glyphicon Pencil. That would be perfect for this website, wouldn't it? So what's the code that we need? It's going to be Glyphicon and then Glyphicon hyphen pencil. So there's a couple different ways to change that in Dreamweaver. There's almost always a couple different ways to change anything in Dreamweaver. But right now, the thing that makes this a Glyphicon home is this line of text that says Glyphicon home. So I'm going to, with my cursor inside of where it says Glyphicon home, I'm going to start to delete the HOME part, and I'm going to type PEN, and you can see it's starting to fill in pencil for me. Yeah. So there we have it now. So now it's Glyphicon, Glyphicon pencil, and I got my pencil, which is really the effect that we were going for. So I like that. I'm going to hit save, save again. Now let's continue to fancy up our first line here, our headline that says the humble pencil. And I'm going to go back to CSS Designer, and I want to make sure that I have style selected, because this is where we're storing all of our custom styles. Make sure I have global selected, and then I'm going to select on my H1, my heading 1. So far what properties have we given to our heading 1? Well, if I click on the little checkbox that says show set, it will tell me what I've set. This is what I've set. I said the font family is Happy Monkey. The style is normal. 400 is the weight of the font. That was all actually the 400 part that was included when we added in the font. And we have a text-align property set to center, right? Because we centered our text. So what I like to do now is add some text shadow. So this is a text property. I'm going to click on my text icon. Takes me right to my text icon, to my text properties. And if I look down, we can see we've got text shadow properties. Let's scroll a little bit so we can see this a little bit clearer. Okay. So let's see, for my text shadow, I'm going to try maybe 3 pixels. That's kind of a good sized text shadow. And 3 pixels. And a blur of 3 pixels. And then for the color, what color do I want for my text shadow? I'm going to slide Dreamweaver over because of where the video is positioned. You can't see this. When I click over here under color, here's my palette of colors that I saved that were recommended to me by Adobe CC Color, right? And I'm going to use this sort of burnt orange color. Let's click on that one and then hit enter. Okay, now let me center my page back up. And I like that. You see we've got this nice drop shadow effect to our text. This is kind of exciting because we have created a very stylized looking logo for our website. We've got a pencil, we've got the cool looking font, we've got the drop shadow effect, and we've done all this without having to use any outside special graphic artist or special graphic artist tool. Now, you know, a decade ago, you would have had to have a graphic artist create a logo for you in Photoshop or Illustrator, then export it as, you know, some kind of an image. But we can do so much more just using the built-in styles of CSS and also using tools like glyphicons. Okay, I like this. So again, I'm going to hit save. I don't want to have to do this work again. And let's preview this now in a browser. We haven't done that in a while. I'm going to go hit F12, preview in Chrome, and just see what this looks like in a browser. I like it. Now I want to do something to make my text look a little bit fancier. Right? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs here. I want to make them a little bit more interesting. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go and we want to highlight all of these. We want to select all of this text. Now the easiest way to highlight a lot of this text is to do so in Code View. So I'm going to switch to Code View here. And I'm looking at my navigation code. I want to see the source code for the page, so I'm going to hit source code. So I want to highlight all of these paragraphs. Now this is a case where working in Code View, you don't have to know what all this code means, but I do want you to highlight and drag over all of that text so that it's all highlighted from the top to the bottom. So we're not including our div, we're not including that H1, but we do want to highlight these 5 lines of text, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to wrap these 5 lines of text up in a div. You know, we've used the after for inserting new content. We've nested, where we put that glyphicon inside of the H1 tag. Now, what we haven't done before is wrap. We're going to use the wrap thing right now. So I'm going to go under Insert, and I'm going to choose Div, and I'm going to choose Wrap Around Selection. And I'm going to say OK. So what we see now, what we have is we have a beginning div tag and a closing div tag that wraps around all of this content. If we go back here and we look at our DOM panel, and let me select, I'm just going to click somewhere here on one of these lines of text, we can see that there is a div. That's the div that holds everything, and if I click on it, it opens up, and inside of it I can see each one of my individual paragraphs. Okay, so why did I wrap everything up in a div? Well, I did that because Dreamweaver makes it easy to wrap anything in a div. I actually didn't want it to be in a div. I wanted it to be in a block quote. So how do I change this from a div to a block quote? There is no wrap in a block quote command. We can go down here in the status bar and click on my div, and then we haven't used this tool before, but it's a great tool. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to choose the quick tag editor. Now we can easily set the class, we can set the ID. But we're going to choose quick tag editor. I'm going to click on that, and it lets us actually edit what this tag is. So right now it says div, right? We're going to change it to block quote. So I've deleted div, and I'm going to start typing block, and there it is, block quote. That's the one that we want. So we've changed it from div to block quote. Why did we use block quote? Well, we'll see here in a second. I'm going to hit enter. Okay. So now I've got my 5 paragraph tags, but they're wrapped up in a block quote. So what does a block quote do? You know what? Let's click over here and choose Preview in Chrome. And Dreamweaver's going to say, do you want to save these changes? And we're going to say, yep. This is what a block quote does. We can switch back. Okay, this is what the text originally looked like. That's plain paragraph text. And this is what the text looks like in a block quote. We've got this nice color bar along the side. The font's a little bit larger. Looks better. And this particular appearance of this block quote is something that's generated by Bootstrap. It's kind of a fancier looking block quote. Well, we're going to take a break now, and we're going to come back and we're going to see how can we change the appearance of this block quote and maybe tie it in with the rest of our website.